Now, as we stand right here, right now, the Star Wars fan base is still very much divided after what happened with The Last Jedi, and especially even what happened with The Rise of Skywalker, because of Kathleen Kennedy deleting so many scenes out of the movie and putting other ones in there. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, the great thing about Star Wars right now is that at the very minimum, it is really shaping up this year of 2020. We've got The Mandalorian Season 2, we had The Clone Wars Season 7 already. Things really are looking great with The Bad Batch for next year of 2021, so a lot of good things are coming out of Star Wars. There's no denying this, and that's exactly what Disney wants to do. They really want to bring Star Wars in the right direction, to really give fans something true to look forward to. Now, given that Kathleen Kennedy has little to no creative power, thankfully, we have George, John, and Dave working on a handful of projects to really give the fans as much authentic Star Wars material as possible. However, when we examine The Last Jedi as a movie, right, this movie in particular had a lot of issues, and I'm sure a lot of you guys out there will agree with me. You know, the Casino City of Canto Bight, the character of Luke Skywalker and how he was portrayed by Rian Johnson. And let's not even forget about the fact that he killed Snoke so early on in the sequel trilogy that, well, J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy had to go into panic mode and throw in Palpatine and just shoehorn him in there into Episode 9 in order to really have a proper villain to conclude the overall story. So here we are, it's the end of 2020, we're getting closer to 2021, this year just flew by, and we're actually going to be seeing this new universe unfolding before our very own eyes. However, what's really intriguing all has to do with a big plan by Disney and Lucasfilm, where of course, since Rian Johnson worked on The Last Jedi, the Star Wars fan base has been very divided over what happened with the sequel trilogy by Disney, and that now both Bob Iger and Bob Chapek are trying to do everything in their power in order to create a better future for the Star Wars franchise in order to make sure it stays relevant. Now, it's explained that one of the big plans by Disney is to develop a new cut for The Last Jedi that will provide the fans a handful of deleted scenes from the film that were not inserted into the final cut of the movie. Now, it's described that one of the main sequences that are indeed being worked on for the 3-hour cut of The Last Jedi is going to be a brand new flashback sequence that was filmed partially for Episode 8 that will be finalized by George Lucas and others in order to create a superior version of The Last Jedi that will tap more so into Ben Solo and Luke Skywalker. So let me be clear here, is that they really are trying their absolute best to give the fans a proper version of Episode 8 by incorporating tons of new deleted scenes that were either partially filmed or that were actually not even filmed at all, that they want to bring to life and throw it into this new cut of Episode 8 that is actually aimed to become 3 hours long in length on Disney+. Now, they're doing a similar thing with The Rise of Skywalker. Keep in mind that they really are trying to make Disney Plus the destination of a library's worth of Star Wars material and or content. But it's not just that. They also want to make up for the mistakes made with the sequel trilogy movies. And I think that obviously, you know, George, John, and Dave, they have a lot of work on their shoulders to complete. They have a lot that they are going through right now. So I'm not quite sure if I really feel that this is going to be a waste of time or if it's really going to be time well spent. After all, a lot of fans are against The Last Jedi. Can they really fix the core aspects that fans are really against? Well, it looks like that they are going to be tweaking a lot of things here and there that's going to give it a different feel overall and a different take on the movie. Now, it's explained that initially there was a scene in which Harrison Ford actually took part in, surprisingly, in how he filmed scenes for The Last Jedi that were cut from the movie, where Han Solo was going to interact with Luke Skywalker in the form of a flashback, where he drops Ben Solo off at Luke Skywalker's Jedi Temple. Now, this entire scene is said to also involve some of Luke Skywalker's new generation of Jedi that will be seen in the 3-hour cut of The Last Jedi that will be established. So once again, guys, you may recall that we talked about this years ago, that Rian Johnson originally wanted to show the fans the new generation of Jedi, Luke Skywalker's students that eventually were only able to be heard in the form of that flashback that we saw on the big screen when the movie dropped in theaters. Now, what they want to do is they actually want to show the fans what the Generation of Jedi looks like. Now, we got a glimpse of them in the comics, mind you, but we never got to see them in live-action form. And in the actual movie, you only hear them getting slaughtered by Ben Solo when Luke Skywalker taps into Solo's mind. And that's it. That's all we got to really see. So, with, of course, all these different changes being applied to the new cut of The Last Jedi, and even Episode 9 as well, you can see how very ambitious Disney and Lucasfilm really are. Maybe it's desperate, sure, but at the same exact time, at least they're really trying to make things up for the Star Wars fans. And hey, you know what? I view this as entertainment. I don't have to like what they put together. I think that regardless, it's going to be fun to watch, to see an alternate version of The Last Jedi with a handful of deleted scenes in there and shifting segments around to really give the fans a different take on Episode 8, if you will. Moving on. So, also, it's explained that Luke Skywalker will get some form of action in the 3-hour cut of Episode 8, given, of course, that Mark Hamill initially had done scenes where he trains a young Ben Solo in the movie that will be finalized by George, John, and Dave, and that they intend to release the new cut of the film sometime in 2023 on Disney+. Now, additionally, another scene that is going to be worked on is described to be the moment Luke Skywalker is force projecting himself on the world of Ahch-To, and that Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost voice will have a major role in the ending sequence of The Last Jedi that will give the sequence more substance in the movie. So once again, they're going to be using a lot of Hayden Christensen's dialogue that was initially in Episode 9, and to kind of make it have somewhat of a role in The Last Jedi for his son Luke. Now, I think that this is fantastic what they're trying to put together. The fact that they really are trying to give The Last Jedi a bit more meaning, if you will, to make it more of a meaningful story to the Star Wars fans out there. I can see what Rian Johnson is trying to do. He is essentially trying to, pretty much just stay back, keep quiet. We haven't really heard much about him, right? He hasn't really been talking about this new universe. He's been very quiet on Twitter about it. But I can see what Bob Chapek is trying to do. He's trying to be very much apparent that he wants to make Star Wars as successful as the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And like I said, that's going to take a lot of time and effort and a high success rate to really get it to that pretty much, big level. So, The Last Jedi, I think, has potential to really kind of attract some of the fans back. Do I think that this is going to fix what was, damaged in the sequel trilogy? I'm not quite sure about that just yet. I don't want to go too ahead of myself to say that it will fix everything in there, but it is definitely going to be a significant improvement on how we actually watch this movie. Now, alright, this is of course also planned to be Lucas's way to make Anakin relevant even in the middle film of the sequel trilogy, by making Anakin have a major impact on his son Luke using the power that was handed down from the Wills and the netherworld of the Force. Also, Lucas will be using many of John Williams' unused themes from The Last Jedi, and that Rian Johnson refused to use this in his version of the movie. Also, they are planning to insert the partially filmed scenes for Han Solo's funeral that was in the making in order to pay tribute to Han Solo in Episode 8, to give The Last Jedi more of an emotional setting for characters like Leia and the Resistance. So once again, guys, this is basically their way to keep Han Solo relevant in Episode 9 even more so. This is described to also be Disney's way to change the tone of The Last Jedi by making it have more emotion for the audience to feel for the characters and what they are going through the actual story. Kathleen Kennedy, at no surprise, is said to also be against this idea and how she does not want this cut of the film to see the light of day on Disney+. Again, not a big surprise on Kathleen Kennedy's part. She doesn't really want this to actually be a thing at all by the time 2023 arrives. So, I think that this is honestly brilliant. I'm not quite sure if it's going to be a waste of time. Time will tell once it finally drops in the next couple of years. So, with that being said, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.